Hi guys, I've hit 2,000 subscribers and like I said I was going to do a video in which I answer some of your questions. We've got quite a lot to go through, so let's get to it. What's your favourite keyboard and switch type? My favourite keyboard's my Acer KB101A because it has my favourite switches, Blue Alps. Those things were just made for me, I think they're perfect. What's your least favourite keyboard and switch type apart from rubber domes? Rubber domes aren't actually my least favourite switch type. I found some mechanical ones that are much worse. I think the worst keyboards that I've had are the Amstrads, and the worst switch type I've tried are the Smith Corona leaf spring over membrane. The respective reviews on those two keyboards are pretty much 6-minute, very colourful rants. Give them a watch if you want to see me spat some interesting language. What's your favourite modern keyboard and switch? I haven't tried all that many, so I wouldn't really know, but I think it would probably be something with Topra. What's your favourite form factor and layout? I dislike everything that's smaller than a full size, and I like it bigger than that if possible. My favourite layout is either UK ISO or the Focus layout. Will you take back your suggestion to de-awesomize the Unix layout of the HHKB in your HHKB video? No, I think unless you're a hardcore computer person, the layout is pretty impenetrable. What's your daily driver keyboard? I don't really have one because I keep swapping keyboards to test them out for you guys. But that said, the keyboard at work I don't change very often, and that's a Zenith ZKB2. Because it types nicely and it doesn't make too much noise when it's in an open office. What's your rarest keyboard? Probably either my Zenith SWA 4300 with magnetic valves or the Fujitsu N860 with tactile magnetic reeds. What was the first keyboard you ever used? It was an IBM Model F, the one that came with the portable PCXT. So I started off at a pretty high level. Is there an amazing keyboard you own with one giant flaw? Yeah, I have an enormous wang, but it doesn't work. Why do you hate Cherry and prefer Alps? Because Cherry is shit and Alps is the tits. Why do you review only old keyboards? I can't afford modern mechanical keyboards. Will you review modern keyboards? Well, I would if I found them at the recycling centre for 50p. No, actually, keep your eyes peeled for this week's upcoming review. What do you think of modern mechanical keyboards? I think in most cases vintage mechanical keyboards were much better in almost every way. They tended to have better build quality, better switches, better keycaps, and they even just looked better. Nowadays there are a lot of modern keyboards that look like a stealth fighter, and they have cyber fonts and backlighting in 5 different colors, and I think that just looks a bit vulgar and almost childish actually. What modern keyboard do you think will be a classic in 10 years? I'd say, based off of the loyalty of its followers, probably the HHKB. Which keyboards took you the longest to get? If I'm brutally honest, none of the keyboards I have that I looked for took a particularly long time to find. I tended to be successful fairly quickly at them. How do you get your voice to sound like that, and what will you do with that voice of yours? I get asked this constantly. I don't put on a voice for the review, this is just what I sound like normally. I'm actually a chemist by trade, but I wouldn't mind doing some voice work actually. A lot of people have suggested I do some narration, some voice acting, stuff like that. I really wouldn't mind doing that. I think that would be great. How old are you? I'm turning 29 this month. What's your favourite food? Steak, rare. Where are you from? Utrecht, the Netherlands. Will you do ASMR? Maybe, but I think I don't really have the equipment for it at the moment. I just have a shitty camera and a webcam. What does your YouTube username mean? Well, my usual username, Gyros, was already taken on YouTube, so I just took that and put some stuff at the end of it. Gyros itself doesn't mean anything, I just thought it sounded cool, but I've been using that username for about 20 years now. What OS do you use? Windows 7. Why do you hit the spacebar with your index finger? Oh god, not that again. Yes, I guess I just can't type. How large is your collection and when did you start collecting? I own well over 100 keyboards of, at the moment, 94 different models, and I started collecting a bit under 2 years ago. How did you get interested in keyboards in the first place? Okay, so at some point I had this old computer setup that was kind of falling apart, so I got rid of my old, I think it was a Pentium 3 or something, I can't even remember. I got rid of that, got a brand new computer, nice sleek black tower, got rid of my old CRT monitor, tossed that out, I got a nice black flat screen, the one I got now, got rid of the old speakers which weren't really working anymore, got some of those black Logitech ones, they're great, I still have them, and got rid of my old mouse, which I traded for a Logitech laser one of the cheap black ones, but it works great. So essentially I traded my disintegrating beige setup for a sleek black one, but the only thing that still worked properly was the keyboard, which was a Sony Rubber Dome keyboard, which was pretty good and fairly loud for a Rubber Dome. And I just really liked it, so I thought, oh, I'll just keep it. And then everybody kept commenting, oh, your setup looks so nice now, but that keyboard really doesn't fit it very well. And I thought, screw it, I think it looks nice and retro. And then when that died, as Rubber Domes do eventually, I thought, well, I want an even older keyboard that makes even more noise. So I started scrounging the basement of the chemistry building, and I found this Asus 6312, which is a really clicky keyboard, and I thought, ooh, this is something special. So I asked if I could keep it. I could, and then I delved into the world of mechanical keyboards, and here we are. What's the most you ever paid for a keyboard? $120 for a keyboard I've had about 11 months now, which you haven't seen yet. That one's undergoing some special work, but you'll see it in the future. Have you ever built a keyboard from scratch? No, I've refurbished a bunch, and I heavily customized and more or less rebuilt an old Wang keyboard that became the Project L keyboard I showed in one of my videos, but I've never built anything from scratch. Have you ever made or adapted a tool for keyboards? I tend to be fairly resourceful with some simple stuff like toothpicks and cocktail sticks. I made some wire pullers out of paper clips, but nothing particularly complicated. I think that the most complicated thing I made was the PS2 adapter that I put together for my P70 keyboard. Do you type faster on a mechanical keyboard? If I'm honest, no. I just like the sound and the typing feel. Will you review an insert keyboard name? Yes, if I ever find one. I try to review everything I have that's significant or interesting. How do you fund your purchases since YouTube won't be paying you much and keyboards can be very expensive? That's very true. YouTube isn't paying me all that much at all. I think my first paycheck should be coming in next month or something. I haven't hit the minimum payout amount yet. I make most of my keyboard money by buying keyboards very cheap and then selling off duplicates and keycap sets and stuff like that for money that I use to buy other keyboards for. For the job I do, I haven't been paid for a year now, so I'm pretty damn poor. I really have no money to spend, so I have to do it that way. But I'm only about £30 down in total if I factor in the money that I got off of keyboards, so it hasn't cost me much at all, really. Do you prefer geekhack or desk authority? I like them both for different reasons. Geekhack is a bit busier, but desk authority is more focused on old keyboards, which is the kind of stuff I do, so I like them both. What's going to happen to the channel when you run out of keyboards? So my big project is to do a weekly keyboard review for all of 2016. So a keyboard review every week for a whole year, and I hope I can get enough keyboards for that. I think I might be able to. After I run out, it'll be much more sporadically. It'll basically be just as I get them. I also want to spend a bit more time on my QKT videos, which I've had to halt for the moment because of some extreme demands on my time with regards to work. What would you recommend for a first mechanical keyboard? I'd say everyone should start off with a Dell 8101W if you can get one. That is, if you can get one for cheap, because that's kind of the point of them. They have nice, balanced tactile switches, but you can turn them into very smooth linear switches or satisfying clicky ones with some simple mods. I'll make videos on how to do that. If you want a recommendation for a modern keyboard, I'm not sure what I'd recommend, because like I said, I haven't tried all that many, and frankly I haven't seen that many things that really impress me. What do you think of the cheap $40 to $80 mechanical keyboards on offer right now? You'll see soon enough. Where are the best places to find old keyboards for a low price? So I found many of mine at the university where I got them for free. A whole bunch, probably the majority, at recycling centres for pocket change. I've bought a couple off of keyboard proceeds that I made, and a few I've gotten from trades. The one tip I would give you if you want to go looking for old keyboards is be assertive. I had to spend a lot of time and effort to get this collection together. It didn't just, fall out of the sky. I really had to make an effort for it. And although I've been quite lucky with how cheap I managed to get them, you need to really go out there and find them. A lot of people say that there are no recycling centres or anything like that near them, but I think you might be surprised if you just look around you properly. But beside that, they don't just come in recycling centres. A lot of people have found fantastic finds at thrift shops, other second-hand hardware stores. I think you'd be surprised if you just essentially made an effort to look around you properly. Of course, you can get keyboards from eBay. Generally they're somewhat expensive from there, but if you keep your eye open, you can get some really, really nice deals for that as well. I found a bunch that I just snatched off pretty much as soon as they were posted, and I really can't complain about that. Another option on eBay is to just let the seller sit on it for a few months, and then when he's lowered the prices, just put in a bid or make an offer, and then they tend to be quite accepting with that. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any more questions. I'm always happy to help. And don't forget to check out next week's upcoming keyboard review. See you guys.